Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Eddie Cross was a leading MDC leader throughout the GNU with Morgan Tsvangirai, GNU with Morgan Tsvangirai, and he has been very close to Emmerson Mnangagwa. He's even written his biography for him. Here he is saying that the looting, the wholesale looting that has been taking place in Zimbabwe must stop. It's all very well saying it, but to be quite honest, it is another thing achieving it. And he, of all people, should know that. The truth of the matter is Zimbabwe, the corruption in Zimbabwe has become entrenched. It dates back to soon after independence. In one of his interviews with Trevor Ngube, Dr. Simba Makoni spoke of how soon after independence, Mugabe started giving all his ministers E-class Mercedes-Benz, generous salaries, when Ian Smith did not even give any of his ministers the cars. This was the beginning of the corruption. Mugabe knew what he was doing, of course. He was bribing his fellow ZANU-PF leaders. When you've been given a new car, the keys to a new Mercedes-Benz, you are not likely to criticize Mugabe. And if the truth be said, Mugabe had one of the most complying cabinets in probably human history. It is widely known that if Mugabe was not there, there was no cabinet meeting. And these cabinet members knew they had to play to Mugabe's tune. So much so that Margaret Longo was infuriated by how powerless and complying not only the cabinet members, but MPs, senators, ZANU-PF officials were to Mugabe. That on one occasion, she called the ministers and MPs vakadzi vaMugabe in sheer frustration of what was going on. Here is Dr. Makoni in an interview with Trevor Ngube talking about how it is very difficult for this regime to change.
President Emmerson Mnangagwa for a long time. Why have we gotten to where we are so quickly? There was a time, Simba, why I'm saying that 2 years ago, when people thought things were going to change. I was one of those people. Did we misread Emmerson Mnangagwa, or this is the real Emmerson Mnangagwa?
First, let me say, if it's not impolite, what new dispensation? Mm-hmm. There is no new dispensation. Mm. firstly. Did we misread? Who we have is Emmerson Mnangagwa. I can't say I know him very well. We served together in cabinet at Independence. We served together in the party at various times. But I would be dishonest if I say I know him as well and as closely as I knew other people, or even as I knew President Mugabe, for example, who I said I used to spend a lot of time talking to on a whole range of issues. I didn't have the same relation. We were cordial colleagues in a team. So I can't speak much about his personality, but the character he is displaying as president of Zimbabwe is as I know him.
So nothing surprises you.
Again, I don't want to sound like I said so. When the 18th of November took place, I didn't participate. I had a conversation with Morgan Tsvangirai, and I called Joyce Mujuru as well. And when the inauguration took place on November 24, again, I had a call with Morgan Tsvangirai, and I advised that he shouldn't participate in that because I didn't think that this was real change. Trevor, I say this with tongue in cheek because obviously time has passed. But when it happened, and I want to suggest to you, the viewers and listeners who have the opportunity, to go and read General Chiwenga's statement before Asante Sana. And also to read Busiso Moyo's statement
announcing
the president is safe. If you read anything in those statements that has anything to do with the condition of life of the people of Zimbabwe, if you see anything that doesn't have to do with power, the power contest between two groups within ZANU-PF, then I will come and make a public apology.
Well, what he said is true. There cannot be any denying that it is naive to expect this ZANU-PF dictatorship to change. That is just ridiculous. They will never change. Mnangagwa, when he took over in 2017, he promised to stamp out corruption. He did not. If anything at all, corruption has got worse under him than it was under Mugabe. Because it has become the tradition of, if you want to stay in power as ZANU-PF, you have to bribe those around you. And that is what is fueling corruption. So when our friend talks of we must stop corruption now, how do you stop it when those who are in power are the ones who are corrupt? That is our situation here. We are looking at a situation where we are the helpless ones. ZANU-PF Mnangagwa has corrupted everything in society. You name it. The police, the army, ZEC, the judiciary, the opposition, they are all in Mnangagwa's pockets. How do you stop corruption then? I think talking of we must end corruption now is no more than the classical case of belling the cat. Whether you like to admit it or not, you're not going to succeed, because no one is going to put that bell on the cat. We cannot end corruption as long as we have those who are in power responsible for the corruption. And right now, Mnangagwa and his colleagues control everything. And it is unthinkable that they will ever reform themselves out of office. So ZANU-PF will never reform itself out of power. We have spent the last 25 years risking everything to elect opposition leaders whom we entrusted the task of implementing the democratic reforms. They had the golden opportunity to do so during the GNU. They failed to implement even one reform. Not even one token reform was implemented then. That is the reality. So now we are looking at a situation where the MDC CCC as ZANU-PF Team B in all but name. They're playing for Team A to win and for Team A to have legitimacy. Who is going to bail the cat? Who is going to force ZANU-PF to reform? You can talk all we want about stop ending corruption, but how? When we don't have the power. I believe that the people do actually have the power. The only problem is they don't know their power. I believe in Zimbabwe we can change and achieve meaningful democratic change if the people themselves realize that MDC CCC are running with the paw for hair and hunting with the ZANU-PF hounds. They've been doing this ever since the the GNU of 2008 to 2013. The people themselves have been slow to pick up that reality. And this is why we are where we are. The 2023 elections were an outrage. People were told that Chamisa is lying about plugging the vote-rigging loopholes. And it wasn't the first time he had lied to them. He did the same thing in 2018. And yet 2 million Zimbabweans out there believed him. And so they were called to participate and gave ZANU-PF legitimacy. Chamisa soon thereafter went on a sabbatical, but now he's preparing to come back. And this message is very simple. He will once again tell the people of Zimbabwe that he is going to win the elections with no reforms implemented. This is him speaking in 2023, just before those elections.
Makorokoto Zimbabwe, nokuti hakuna munhu anomira kana denga raronga plan. Denga raronga plan, denga harifo iri. Plan ya Mwari haifo iri. Ini ndatanga kugadzira cabinet. There is no way we are not going to form a new cabinet. There is no way we are not going to have a celebration. There is no way we are not going to have an inauguration. Let's start preparing for our inauguration. Let's start preparing for our celebration.
Chamisa lied to the people in 2023, in 2018. He is going to lie to the people again come 2028. And as long as he's able to do so and con people to participate in those flawed elections in their millions, ZANU-PF will have legitimacy and will not be able to stop the corruption that is destroying the country. Stop it now? No. We can't stop it now because ZANU-PF has got absolute power. But if we can stop ZANU-PF having legitimacy in 2028, we have a chance. That is my message. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.